In share. Okay. So what's really cool about Google Hangout On Air is that when you do an on air, broadcast, it saves it to YouTube. So if you go to the class website, so you go to World Classroom, and you go to our class website, I updated the website so that as soon as you get to the landing page, you can get to the recordings of class meetings. I kept the page here of last semester's recordings of class meetings because if you have any question about kind of what's expected for a project, you could take a peek at all of those videos, you know, and get a sense of what other people presented and what the feedback was. So that should be super helpful. On our class, recording of class meetings, we just have the video from last week. But as every time we you know, create one, I'll add it to the list. Unless I do something really dumb and I forget to record, which I've done before. So do you guys have any questions about that?
On 2016, it says I'm unauthorized. 2015.
You're unauthorized.
It may just be on this computer.
It may not be. It may be, oh, this is not published.
Oh.
Now take a look.
Wow.
Did it fix it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Remember that your week 1-2 module is all due on Friday at midnight. I changed the time so it's not 9 a.m., it's actually midnight. Mindy pointed out that project 2 and 3, which we're not dealing with yet, but I have the due dates in 2015. So I'll have to update that, but you've got enough work to do, hopefully, that you don't need to go access those yet. But anyway, if you look under assignments, you can see all of the reading is due September 2nd at 11:59, so that's Friday. The critiques don't have due dates. As soon as you present, I just give you a point in the critique area. It doesn't matter what the date was. I record the date that you presented. And then this is all old garbage you probably are not seeing. And then these visual scavenger hunts, your first one is due Friday at 11:59. And then your first quiz, which is based on the reading, is due Friday at 11:59. And then your 3 projects, you can see that I have old due dates in here. I should just, how about I don't publish them yet so you don't see them anymore because I don't want you to be overwhelmed by them, but I'll update them and reset the date. And then remember, your project 1 is due September 27th. You guys cool? Do you have any questions about that so far? Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to you guys and see what you have so far. If anybody wants to get credit for presenting today, then I kind of am expecting to see like your proposal at least and your ideas, some preliminary ideas, and we'll give you some feedback. So I will be quiet now and stop sharing my screen. I'll turn it around so you guys can see, or whoever can see the phone. Oh, that's glued down there. I'm not going to be moving that. There we go. Okay. So we'll all present as Eric. If anybody's ready to present, go ahead. Good. Cool. And it's really dark over here. So I have, look at this. I posted already the vague idea that I had, which was going to do a fictional organic grocery store that's like a single location kind of thing. Supposed to be kind of on par with like Whole Foods and Lucky's Market and that kind of thing. So here it is. I spent most of my time this week doing all the preliminary research for it. I looked at like 8 or 9 different organic stores in St. Louis. So this one's supposed to be based out of Town and Country. So it's super this.
So I haven't done a whole lot in here because I didn't want to get too ahead of myself. If I was, this is not the correct font, by the way. It's supposed to be this. That's annoying. I didn't want to get too ahead of myself if anyone had any input that was like, I'm going in the wrong direction or something. But basically the website and app idea for this is that it's a place that can't seem to reach the people in the community for its different organizations. So like they would have, much like the grocery stores do, a little sign up at the front that says on Wednesdays we have wine tastings and on weekends we sponsor bike events, and they can't get that information out there. So the website would be, since it's a grocery store, it's not a whole lot of shopping. It's a lot of, you know, these are the extra programs that we offer, and these are the extra classes that we do, and blah, 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 blah. So basically the point of the website and the app would be that, and then like coupons and whatever. So I have that, and then I have an idea of the flow chart I'm going to do. Nice. So yeah, most of the ones that I've seen have very few actual different pages. So recipes is a big one that they would have, where you have like healthy eating, help with diets, which a lot of people look for, and then new recipes, which is part of a community outreach sort of thing. So it'll let me scroll down. A wine section, since it's town and country, people like that. And so the homepage, I didn't know how else to describe what I was going for than to show all the different things that don't have their own pages necessarily. They would either link externally, like your stories, which is an Instagram kind of thing. So it would link to a hashtag. So these don't have their own individual pages. They just have, you know, a front page sort of deal. Catering is just catering info, which is like up here. And then moving slides, which show, you know, community outreach, seasonal info, like we have this for like the next 3 weeks or whatever, the classes that they do, and then a recipe of the month, which is part of the whole community participation kind of thing. So yeah, this is what I did this week. I haven't gone into the wireframes yet because, again, I wanted to make sure that it was all translating well. It was sounding okay before I did a whole lot else.
What do you guys think? Do you have any comments or?
She has no idea what she's talking about. No, I really love this. I really love this. I love how you're reaching out to the community too. A lot of things that organic stores might do.
Mm-hmm.
I thought instantly is outreach to the community for their own garden vegetables too.
Mm-hmm.
So I love like that maybe you could possibly incorporate that too into the social media aspect of it too, or even like signs on the outside. Like I just totally see where you're going with this, and I love it.
Awesome.
Already. Totally love it. And what would make it different though than like a Whole Foods or say like a Mass? What would make it different than like a Whole Foods or like a Mass, like a Deerbergs or?
Right. The whole point of this one is that it's like a single location, so it's supposed to be like very specifically community oriented. So like the other ones, you have like the vague pages. It's like, this is Whole Foods in general. You can find your store. This is like, this is your store. So they have like front page, you know, Ellisville bike race or what, you know what I mean? Like whatever is like center. Yeah.
We're on the same page.
I spent a lot of time in Whole Foods, and you have to really hunt for that stuff.
Yeah. Well, now they're getting in trouble a lot for selling stuff that isn't up to the standards that everyone wants.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking when I Google a place like this, it's just to find the location and the hours.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you want like the target audience to keep coming back to the site, it's really important to have like updates, like blog or social media outreach.
Right. Yeah, I figured since that would be like, you know, what most people are looking for, that would be right there on the front page. But like near the bottoms, you also have to look through, not the bottom, but like when you pull up the page, it's like in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find it, but you have to go through the fun stuff first.
Like if you've seen those Facebook like viral like cooking videos, like I think it's called Tasty.
Yes.
Where they do like kind of stop motion of cooking. I think that would be really cool content for this, where like you basically market like ingredients that maybe people wouldn't normally buy.
Mm-hmm.
And then like zucchini, like what you do with zucchini.
Make noodles.
Yeah.
Which I've done.
Well, I think Eric, I think they're all making a great point. With your proposal, you're saying a lot of it, but I think you can communicate more of it in your proposal to your client
Mhm.
because you want your client to read your proposal and say, wow, she really gets us.
Mhm.
You know, and I think you understand the dilemma of a single little community organic store trying to compete against the Deerbirds and the Chinooks in the world. So your proposal should address, like, here's how I'm going to solve that problem. I'm going to create this amazing online resource that is going to engage your customer base and really want them to support the grocery store and want to come back to the grocery store. So try to infuse this with more of that language so that when I own the grocery store, I'm like, why do I want to spend all this money on the website? She understands. She's going to make us look different and get people coming back. So always be keeping that in mind. How am I going to make this a place that's different from the Chinooks and the Deerbirds? And just one thing with the layout of your proposal, I would go even more, like you've got some, I mean, this is really nitpicky, but this is what you're showing us, so I'm just giving you what I'm thinking.
Right.
With that wood grain in the back, to
Mhm.
me, I'm thinking like wood-fired fare. That's kind of like what I'm thinking. It's like a restaurant, briarwood. Even the name, it feels like it's, I'm going to have pizza on a brick oven. That's the vibe that I'm getting.
Okay.
I would maybe use one accent color. I'm thinking like real simple, kind of like vegetable silhouettes or something in green on the green background. Just it's something that's just really green, organic grocery, as opposed to, it looks high end what you presented here, but I'm just getting kind of a different vibe than organic grocery store.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think you can talk about, I mean, you can add other sections to this proposal, analysis, situation analysis, to kind of address these things. Like you picked a client that that you've got a good problem to solve. So if you go over to your flowchart, remember, and some of you who didn't take information architecture, this might be helpful to you. If your main categories, one thing that we talked about is this structure implies that you have to go through recipes to get to newest, to get to healthy eating, to get to this. So if these are really sub-pages of this main page, what she should have done with her line work, oh, I don't have a marker. Oh, yes, I do have a marker. Should be more like recipes, and then to indicate that these are at the same, because oftentimes when you're drawing a flowchart, you know, ideally you would show that these are all these sub pages are all at the same level. But in reality, it's hard to do because we have limitations of papers and screens and all that to show our flowchart diagrams. So if you do something that's more like this, implies that these are all in the same level as opposed to one line through them. Mindy was just trying to get ideas out there, and she knows this, so there you go. Does that make sense what I'm saying about how to lay out the flowchart? And also, just the subtleties of all of this line work. You see how there's like 3 or 4 different lines up there? She's going to clean this up eventually. And at this stage, if you drew your flowchart out on paper, I would be totally happy with that because we're really just trying to be thinking about what are the sections, what are the subsections, and all of that. And if you take information architecture, we really get into that. And we do like card sorts and reverse sorts, and we try to figure out, is this, what are people thinking this means? And is this the most appropriate category name? And all of that kind of analysis we do in information architecture. So the emphasis in this class is more about the front end, so I'm not going to go too into that. But back to the line work. We really want people to focus on this. So if you do all these as black lines with black arrows and black text, there's a lot going on visually. So tone down your lines, tone down these boxes so that the content is what pops and people can see that. Okay, if you're working in a program like Illustrator to make your flowchart, just set your line weight down a little bit. You know, it makes a huge difference. Okay, then also too, for diagrammatic purposes, what she's talking about here, and I like the idea that you're thinking about all of these features that's going to help differentiate the site, you know, it's going to differentiate the store.
like what Eric was talking about with the recipes, and like you want people to come back, oh my gosh, I totally want to make this, and I know I can get it at that store, right? So putting that on the homepage is smart thinking. It's like, my objective is to get people excited about this store and go shop at this store. How do I do that? By integrating these features that are going to connect to the community and want them to go in. So that's brilliant. But when you're showing these as like homepage features, how can you differentiate this diagrammatically so that the client is thinking, oh, I get it. These are just features for the homepage. These are actually separate pages right there. Clients are very dumb, right? They don't understand, you know, they haven't studied this in school. They don't get it. So they need to be shown visually, okay, these are features that are off of the homepage, and these are actually, that's like the overall structure of the site. So when you're diagramming this for your proposal, think about how you're going to communicate that differently. What's one way you could make those homepage features different? Well, like, how could you help the client understand that these are homepage features as opposed to separate pages? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Because she's rendered them the same. She's done rectangles right here. Everything is a rectangle. How could you do something that's different?
I was thinking more hierarchical, but that would make it look like the top chart. Really differentiate. It has that structure. It differentiates it from the top part of the chart. But I almost immediately thought of the hierarchical was home on top, and then the tabs or the drop down.
Right, and I think that's what she's doing right here. Could you scroll down a second?
Down or up?
Up, I mean. Right. So if this is the overall structure, I would suggest possibly putting a dot or something that goes down to a diagram, and then maybe a larger box where you're indicating what all of the features are going to be. You know what I mean? So connecting, I'm talking about what's going to go on this homepage. Or oftentimes what I'll do, I mean, you have a lot of ideas for the homepage. So oftentimes what I will do is expand from the homepage. And by the way, the homepage is a big deal. We're going to have this feature, this feature, this feature. I mean, I wouldn't put all of these features in rectangles, right? Because these are kind of content elements that we're going to integrate on the homepage as opposed to pages itself. Okay? So, like, Brian, when you're diagramming out the app that you're working on, you're going to be thinking about that. Like, what's going to be separate pages? What are going to be content elements? And how you're just going to represent them visually. It may be something as simple as like rectangles versus rounded rectangles, or maybe a slightly different proportion rectangle, or maybe a different color scheme.
To show a distinction.
To show a distinction, because the way that we render these things is how people are going to interpret them. If I see all rectangles, they all look the same to me, so I assume that they have the same function and the same kind of level of importance. If I differentiate them visually, then I'll say, oh, these are different from those. I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would probably make them a little bit smaller, too, because a content element kind of is smaller than the page itself, right? So these are all subtleties. Minnie's just trying to get some ideas out there, so I don't mean to be picking on you too much, but these are the things that I want you to think about as you're rendering your flowcharts, especially if you haven't taken information architecture and this is kind of new to you. So, also, you want to think about your top, like in information architecture, what we do a lot is we talk about the top level navigation. Do you think your users will be going to, if they wanted information about catering, where would they look? Would they look under about? Or would they look under something like services? Or, I don't know. In information architecture, we do actually do like focus group tests where we ask users, where would you look for this? That's called a card sort. But since we're not doing information architecture right now, look at other grocery store sites. Maybe this is something Mindy did, and she said, you know what? Under about, catering is always under about. I've looked at tons of grocery store sites, and I mean, okay, let's just go with that for now. Okay, so this is what I want you to be thinking about as you put these these diagrams together. Make sense?
Yes.
So Mindy, I think this is a really good start. I think you can, you know what you have to do next. I would round out, well, first of all, since you have a lot of ideas for the homepage,
that would be, I would start with that wireframe because that's going to be the most complex.
Okay.
You're talking about you have a lot of content elements that you want to show up on that homepage. So seeing how it's going to all fit onto a screen is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think when I actually render it out, I'm going to do it kind of like an infographic, so there's color differentiations, and I might put it, I can't decide if I want to put it near the top or the bottom, because, I mean, if you're looking at a flowchart, you're probably looking for the whole site. I just go in further in depth to the homepage, you know what I mean? So I don't know if I should put that at the top or not, but I think either way, it's going to be like a color differentiate. Yeah, I'm not, like, this was done with, like, flowchart.io or something, something simple, so I can just go and, like, put it out there.
You mean
Illustrator will be better.
If you have a lot to talk about in your diagram about the homepage, put like an asterisk or something.
Okay.
We go down and we show kind of what you're thinking is going to go on the homepage. I want you to think about your top level navigation, because the choices of what your category, like the wording of your categories, remember this whole vibe is we want to be like about the community, about organic. Could these top level categories carry more flavor of what you're trying to communicate about the organization itself? So, for example, maybe instead of about, it might be like, I don't know, if it's going to be suppliers catering, maybe it's something about like,
A lot of them use language like what we do, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Things that are going to be more, I mean, I would think that community might be a top level category, but I don't know. Wine, to me, seems interesting that you have that as a top category.
Oh, well, the way that I picture it, it's kind of like what they do at Lucky's. Have you ever been to Lucky's Market?
No.
They have a whole winery section in the back where they have local wineries, far out wineries, and then they have tastings every now and then. But they don't, it's like a whole section of the grocery store. And I figure this would be kind of like that. And so to do that, you would want to have a whole thing, especially for people who are like wine people. You'd want to have, these are the wines that we have. This is like when we do our, weekly tasting session. These are the wineries, in case you're curious on where it all comes from, which is part of the whole organic thing, knowing where it comes from. So I figured that would deserve its own whole category, especially on the homepage, if that the client is trying to showcase that they have that.
Okay. Helpful info seems a little bit ambiguous to me.
Mm-hmm.
It could be cook with us or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or something that feels a little bit more like you and I are connected. You're part of the community. How can you? That's an example of how you could take these top level categories and give them more of a flavor for, the overall company and the image they're trying to project. Okay, Mindy, I would say your next step is thinking about your wireframes and cleaning up your flowchart and putting more language into your proposal. That's gonna make me feel like you understand, and you do understand what you're trying to do for this grocery store, but put it in the writing as well.
Okay.
That's a good start. Does anybody else want to show anything?
Thank you, Mindy.
Yeah, thank you, Mandy. That's a good one.
Oh, there's Sarah.
Hi.
Hi, do you want to present anything, Sarah?
Not at this moment, no, but I can't see what you're looking at on the other side. I couldn't see what she was presenting.
Were you not sharing the screen?
I thought I was. I guess I didn't click it.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. She didn't share her screen. Let me give you, you heard all the conversation, right?
Yeah, I heard most of it, yes.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. You're Eric. Do you still have, you don't have your files up here? Mindy? She's just going to show her files real quick, just one more time, so we have a recording of what she showed, okay?
Okay.
Will you put
Thank you.
We'll just take a look. I have it set up to screen share on the desktop computer. Can you see now, Sarah?
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes.
So here's her proposal.
Okay.
And here was the flow chart that we were talking about.
So we can make the flow chart and the proposal in like a Word document.
Ultimately, I would like it to be a PDF file,
Okay.
just because you can really control the formatting with that, and I think, I don't know, I think it looks more professional ultimately if it's a PDF file. So I would use InDesign to bring the different elements into your final proposal.
Right. Okay.
And I can definitely help you with that. So I would save out your flow chart as an image, all of your wireframes as separate images, and bring your text into InDesign too. I mean, you could do all of that in Word as well. So I don't really. I mean, I prefer InDesign. What I don't want you to do is make PDFs from all different software and then pull them together and then have this PDF that's pages with all different random sizes.
Right. I can use InDesign. It's no
Okay.
problem.
But for now, as you show your work, you can show it in pieces. And if you're new to this, if you want to just draw out your flow chart while we talk about it, that's fine too.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yep.
All right. Cool. Do you have stuff to show us, Sarah?
No, not right now. I don't.
Okay, that's okay. I think this is helpful for you guys to see one example of what was expected. Eric, you've got stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have it on this computer, but I guess I can log on.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Since we're all set up there?
Yeah.
Okay, you are screen sharing already, so she'll be able to see your work so far.
Is there like a specific date? Oh, there's me. That we're supposed to have a proposal by?
The entire project is due the 27th, so that's about 4 weeks. So it's all due at the same time, but I would say that you probably want to have your proposal done in the next week or so, because you still have to do the wireframes and the final design and everything.
Okay.
You really just have to kind of pace yourself.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to have an actual client for this project, and we actually had a meeting yesterday. He's a top chess player from Vietnam, and he's also a student at Webster, and he's currently ranked 30 in the world overall for chess players. So he's a pretty big celebrity in Vietnam and kind of around the world, and he actually he held the Olympic torch for Vietnam at the Olympic event.
Holy cow.
Yeah, he's pretty well known. And actually, he's leaving today for Azerbaijan to compete in the Chess Olympiad, which is like the biggest world team championship of the year.
Holy
So,
cow.
yeah, so I'll be helping him make his personal websites, and he already has a couple of domains purchased, the KwangLiam.com and KwangLiamLei.com. These names are kind of interchangeable. And yeah, so yesterday we pretty much talked about the structure of the site and laid out kind of a rough menu and different items that you may want to include. So kind of put together this bulleted list, not exactly in flowchart formats, but it gives us a sense of what the website will include. So what we did was actually we took a look at other websites of top chess players and saw what elements to include, what elements not to include. So I actually have a list down here of different sites, so we can take a look at that later.
Well, let me ask you a question. What is his ultimate objective?
He's looking to just make a site where people can contact him, learn more about what he does in terms of chess. He's also a finance major, and that's one field that he wants to go into a bit more after graduating.
Right, but
So-
I mean, like, if I, like, for what purpose? Why would someone want to get in touch with him? Does he get like gigs, or does he get like?
Well, I think one part would be employment. I mean, just have a site where employers could see like all his accomplishments and work experience in terms of chess and his academic work. In terms of being a professional chess player, he wants a place to show like all media stories about him, photo gallery, any other like video.
But if you're like a professional chess player,
Uh-huh.
like, do you get invited to tournaments and you could possibly win money and stuff like that? Or like, why does he need to raise his profile as a chess player?
Yeah, that's one thing. Tournament invitations. I mean, he's already pretty well known in the chess community.
Uh-huh.
So it's more about kind of having an online presence for him and being able to connect with more people and just build a following. He mentioned to me that he's doing work for another site about creating like instructional videos.
Uh-huh.
So this would be one way to kind of drive more traffic to that,
Okay.
whatever kind of future product he might release.
So he has an idea of something else he wants to do with chess because of his status in chess.
Yeah, chess is definitely the big portion, but he also wants to show that he's also involved in finance.
Status. Yeah,
Yes.
I read briefs on him last week. Off and on.
Oh yeah?
So, yeah,
Nice.
so a guy like that's going to be at a certain place in his career.
Exactly.
So a portfolio site, would be something that was almost entry level for him.
Mhm.
But if he has greater goals in chess for his future, like advocacy, exposure to education, instructional videos, teaching, things like that, is that part of his vision too?
Yeah, we actually didn't talk about his long-term goals
Oh, okay.
yesterday.
Short term, he's making a lot of goals happen already.
For sure. Yeah, so that probably when he gets back, probably in like 3 or 4 weeks, then we'll have another meeting to discuss kind of long-term plans and flesh out the ultimate goal of the website.
See, I think I understand what Brian's saying. I think I agree with him. It's like, this guy is a big enough deal that putting on the main navigation his academic degree at Webster is kind of
That's
like
true.
brings him down a little bit. It's
Uh-huh.
kind of like, and by the way, he's a college student here. Like, I feel like that's great. He's got a finance degree from Webster. He's going to have, but I mean, this is about promoting him as like the superstar chess player.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And wanting, eventually he's going to use this as a vehicle to people to get to buy his videos, to invite him to tournaments, to do. I would say, and by the way, this is part of his bio, that he's also BT Dubs. He is also a finance major at Webster, and I don't know. I don't feel like with a guy like this, I just feel like you're trying to do too many things by
Sure.
bringing in. Also, this is what he's going to use to apply for finance jobs at Webster. I mean, finance, I don't know that much about what you do with the finance degree,
Mhm.
but he's going to go in for an interview, and he's like, oh, well, I'm a chess player. Take a look at my site. And by the way, I studied this and this. Here's my resume. Here's my CV. I'll give that to you. But this is about chess.
Sure.
I would just, is that what you were kind of?
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's almost as if the portfolio sites could step down.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's like
I
a big
understand that,
deal. Like
yeah.
a full, I mean, I think it should be all the chess hub. Meet the chess star of Vietnam.
He's a freshman on the chess team at Harvard.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he was the one who suggested having like a main section for finance on his page, but maybe that could be included somewhere in the bio that he studies finance.
What kind of, like, he's got it, I think all of his stuff, I mean, there's nothing visual that you would show about finance. Hey, look at my problem set I did. Or,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
he did an internship recently, and I think he has kind of a like fleshed out resume, so that might be something to include as an attachment, maybe to the bio or maybe even like the contact page.
yeah. I mean, I think
They could change that to be Olympiad too.
That's true, yeah. I mean, there's
You can come back with something totally fresh.
for sure.
That's a big thing.
and sometimes clients have bad ideas.
Hmm.
So, you have to, like, weigh those bad ideas with what you think, and he may insist, and if he's your client, then you don't really have much you can do about that.
It's true.
But you can you can advise as best as you can.
Yeah.
Are you in a situation with him where you can advise and go, hey, maybe we can, like exactly what you're saying, take the focus on to something different?
Yeah, I think it would help to at least clarify like his target audience and his long-term goals, because we didn't talk too much about that, and I think that would help give a clearer picture of what to include
I
in the
actually
page content.
sat down with clients and like I asked them what their objectives are, and in some cases I've talked them out of a website.
Yeah.
Because their objectives, like this website is really not going to accomplish your objectives.
Sure.
Not in this case. I think he needs a website because he wants to post all of his content.
Yeah, he's definitely long overdue for some kind of
Yeah.
online presence.
But I met with a woman one time who wanted to launch a line of these personalized tote bags.
Mhm.
And she had great art, and it was, you know, they were really cute and everything. And she really wanted a custom thing where you could drag and drop different logos and make the bags and personalize your bags. And I'm like, this is a really complex thing that you're trying
That's
to
costly, yeah.
Why don't you go on Etsy and sell a few bags first, and then we'll talk about like making this custom. You know what I mean? People just think they need websites, and sometimes they really don't.
Yeah, a lot of times you can just use like a third-party service and
Yes.
cuts time and cost.
But this guy, he's a big deal. He needs like, hey, I'm the chess superstar of Vietnam. You know
Right.
what I mean? He needs that kind of a site.
Yeah, so I think probably most importantly is next time we talk is to discuss those things.
Writing an objective statement is very important.
Mhm.
And that's why I make you guys put that in your proposal. And, you know, Mindy's talking about her objective statement. She needs to compete. This
Sure.
little store needs to compete with, they need to stay afloat. And we're going to do that by showing something different and connecting to our community.
Mhm.
So think about what the objective is.
Sure. But I think like a good number of the elements are like for sure like media, photo gallery, videos, any news articles. He definitely wants like a career highlights section to kind of highlight all of his achievements. I asked him about blog, and he said probably not to start out with, but maybe in the future. That's always something pretty simple to add. Yeah, so then we discussed a few more things. I mean, he didn't know too much about like branding and like design, and that's not my expertise either. But we discussed kind of keeping it simple, maybe using something from template, or maybe looking at other sites and kind of drawing inspiration from that.
But he is his own brand.
In the
Yeah.
research, Eric, have you been any chess pros that allow either subscribers to their sites or just visitors play them or get tips? Because chess aficionados record their moves online. Like, would you be available to go over around with somebody for a set time or something to make it live internet?
Sure, there are other players who do that. I don't think he's necessarily into that. But there's a whole community on like Twitch and other like chess
Pros.
websites. Yeah, but yeah, he's not too into that. We talked a little bit about like Google Analytics tracking and social media accounts, displaying that on the site, and then we kind of mapped out some rough plan for the coming months. But yeah, it was pretty much like half-hour meeting yesterday. I'll be able to talk to him when he comes back. So.
Okay. Since you're actually doing this, I don't want you to get too caught up in the logistics of like actually getting the project done and
Sure.
making sure that you like. I don't want you to cheap out and use a WordPress template.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I really want you to design it and think about, you know, what actual design will work best for this particular. You know what I mean? So try not to get too caught up in the logistics yet.
Of course, yeah. And I'm actually still kind of thinking about what platforms to build the site on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we didn't discuss yesterday, but I mean, WordPress is one option, but then there's also Bootstrap, which would be a bit more code intensive, but they would offer a lot more flexibility in terms of design and layout. So.
Right. Well, I mean, you can use Bootstrap to build your CSS
Mm-hmm.
and then bring that into a WordPress template.
Oh, I've never done that before.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, that's one way to do it.
Okay.
Okay, well, does anybody else have anything to show, or do you guys feel a little bit better about what you need to do for next week?
Absolutely.
Oh, good. Okay, cool.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Just go ahead and keep sharing, Eric.
Okay, I'm just going to close my email.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to be logged into your email, I think, because we have you in the Google Hangout, so we'll just be sure to log you out by, you know what I mean?
And then I can figure out my flow chart, but I can kind of just describe it.
Okay.
It's not here.
That's fine. Hey, Sarah, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, are you seeing things and hearing things?
Yeah, I heard that whole thing and I saw his
Okay, good.
famous chess player idea.
So, Sarah, how's my friend Sean Leahy?
Oh, I just saw him a couple hours ago, actually. He's doing well.
Brian is going to go, Brian, who's in our class, is going to be in Leiden. When are you going to be in Leiden? In the spring?
Spring 1.
Spring 1.
Oh, nice. I actually won't be there, but it's really pretty in the springtime and there's lots of things to do.
Are you there for 16 weeks for the full term semester or just the term?
I actually live here, so
Okay.
I'm just finishing up my degree, hopefully this semester. And I've been here, well, I will have been here for a year by the time that you get here. So it's a different experience, though.
Okay, Laura. Can you see what Laura's presenting?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so my client is my friend's mom who does a small business where I live, and she sells plates and utensils, and it's called Debbie Doodle Creations. And the whole point, she doesn't have a website or anything because she kind of just runs it from her house, and she just has a Facebook page. So the objective is to just show the products that she has and to provide information about them and contact info to our clients about what she does. The target audience would be men and women who need just, utensils, like specialized custom ones for special occasions and holidays. And then I thought it'd be about 30 to 60 with age range, because probably people with families probably going to be doing most of the buying of it. And then the expected outcomes and benefits. Like the whole point of it is just to show all that she can create and sell, because she mostly just goes to craft fairs, and she doesn't get to display everything that she has. So it's basically just to show all the different designs and categories that she makes, and to give information about where she'll be doing appearances at the craft fairs, and just display photos of everything. So this is kind of just a rough draft by ideas.
Okay.
I don't have a lot. And then description of the project. It just go over ideas about the design and everything. And I have a little bit of a rough draft of how the website would go. So I would have the home page, and I wanted to have the menu bar being like servingware and utensils, and then kind of like a drop down from that with having the different categories she has, such as holidays, sports and college, custom and seasonal, all the designs. And then I wanted her to have an about page, and then a care instructions page, a contact info, and then just one or a page to show her appearances at different craft shows. And that's basically what I have so far.
Okay, do you guys have some thoughts, preliminary thoughts?
Care instruction page.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for TV.
Yeah.
Is there any way that you could make a card start orders on?
Oh, like a page where they could submit orders to her?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was something. I thought contact info would probably be, I don't know if that's where I'd put it, but somewhere they can like submit their email and contact her and everything.
Because it's all custom product, right?
Well, some of them she has custom, and then she has like Christmas, Easter, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I guess most of her custom ones would be if they have a birthday party or like a specific sports team or college, at least from what I've seen. So
Does she want to sell online?
she does. She just started it a year ago, so I think that would be something she'd be interested in,
Right.
selling online.
I don't know if I'm talking about this. You guys have any thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on it?
I think there might be people younger than 30 that might be in this kind of stuff. Definitely for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
A couple of things that in your writing, when you're talking about the objective, always try to write in terms of not think about when you're writing the objective statement is like, what is the purpose of making this? What do you think that the website should achieve? Obviously, in her case, she wants to sell more product, right? That's her, she wants to increase her exposure, she wants to sell more product. That's really your objective. So in terms of to give them background information and all that, those are some of the things you're going to do that will help her sell more product, right? So she needs to increase her exposure to sell more product. So I would think about writing in terms of what's the big picture? Why would someone pay me to make a website? Because they think that they're going to get a return on their investment, right? And then when you're expecting the outcome and benefits, probably I would think more in terms of like, hope is a bad word to use in a proposal because it sounds really weak. When I was writing my master's thesis, my advisor was like, don't say hopefully this and hopefully that. Like, it sounds really kind of pathetic. Like, you're just kind of like making yourself sound, you're not using the word hopefully, but I started to use it, so I'm correcting myself. Anyway, in terms of expected outcomes and benefits, you're going to reach a larger audience, you're going to sell more product. It's a little bit of a reiteration of the original objective, but that would be like what's expected. So if you think about that, you have two options. If you want to sell online, you can make a website and start selling your products on that website. You can also start selling your products on a third-party marketplace. If you sell your products on a third-party marketplace, the benefit is that people go to these third-party marketplaces looking for something to buy. So you immediately increase your audience tenfold. I mean, people are looking for that kind of stuff. If you set up her website and you can buy product on the website, that's good too. But the people that are going to come to the website are probably people that she meets in person. Say, go to my website, go to my website. It's less likely that they'll stumble upon this through a Google search or something like that. More than likely, what's going to come up first is her products on our Etsy page. So if your objective, maybe you want to, when it comes to the products, to kind of give a sense of what her collection is like and then send them to a third-party site, or do a little bit of both. Like you can buy like certain signature pieces here, and then for more pieces go to Etsy, or something simultaneously. Because remember, going back to the objective, we want to sell more products. We want to increase the exposure. And the real way to increase the exposure is to go out to those third-party marketplaces. But the benefit of having the site is that people get to know Debbie. People get to know her inspiration, and they feel connected to her. And they also get to see, oh, I want to see some of the other custom things that she's done for people in the past. And get people inspired and excited to work with Debbie. That's where the website is going to be a really valuable tool. Because if it's about pushing products and getting people to buy, I think it's a lot easier and people are more comfortable with buying from a marketplace like Etsy that's like has this huge presence as opposed to the Debbie Doodle site, because that's kind of a unknown quantity. People who know her are going to be like, I want to go to your website. So go back to that original objective, increasing exposure, sell more products, get people to come, and by showing appearances. That's a great idea. Come to the Kirkwood Green Tree Festival. She's going to have a booth. That's awesome because those kinds of that supports your objective, increase the exposure, sell more products, right? Mm-hmm. So think about how to best use this type of a site as someone who's kind of in the arts and crafts marketplace when there are already these arts and crafts marketplaces out there. So you kind of want to connect those two things.
Okay.
I mean, and I'm kind of passionate about this because I've been down this road before. I mean, people like to buy on Amazon. They want to buy on Etsy because these are environments that they're comfortable with. So you want to get people. I hand you my card at the show. You look at my pretty forks and knives and stuff, and I say, "Oh, visit my website." I'm like, "Dang, I want to buy it." And then they go to the site. They learn more about me, and they're like, "Click shop." They go to Etsy, easy. Or if they don't like shopping on Etsy, they could buy it right through my site too.
Okay, so you were saying either do a combination of buying on the website or I guess connecting to Etsy instead of just doing like solely on buying from the website, or either way. I don't know.
Well, I think if your objective is to sell product, if your objective is to sell product,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best way to do it because Etsy, when you sign up for Etsy and you are selling products on Etsy, they Google advertise you. So like I have an Etsy store. I do embroidery designs. It's like digital files, and I've told you guys this, right? Mm-hmm. My friend was on Facebook, and she's like, "Oh, I saw an ad for some of your designs on Facebook." I had nothing to do with that. Etsy does that for me. So am I more likely going to sell my designs on Etsy or the Julie Griffey site? Etsy,
Right.
Because people go to Etsy. If I'm a professional embroiderer, let's say you have embroidery machines at your house, but you don't do digitizing, you don't do the designs, and your client says, "Laura, I want an arch embroidered on something." You're like, "Okay, I got to go find an arch design." You know that Etsy is a marketplace for a lot of these designs, so you go right to Etsy, you search, you find my design, you buy it. And so people are going to Etsy to find things like that, as opposed to if the only way you could buy that arch design was to find my website first and then find the arch design, you're less likely to find it. So if your goal is to sell more product, what is the best way to do it? You want to probably get her product out there onto these third-party marketplaces. Now, are you going to do this yourself? No, this is not. Well, I mean, maybe if she's going to pay you to do it,
Right.
But the objective of this project is to design the website that's going to be the best strategy for her to increase her exposure and sell more products. So you can integrate some e-commerce on this site if you'd like. I mean, for the project itself, all we're doing is designing. So to get a good grade in this class, you're not going to have to figure out the code to make the e-commerce work. You just have to kind of set it up that way. But I would definitely, if you're advising her, and you're actually going to build this down the road, I would definitely connect to the Etsy store because I mean it's just such a huge potential business venue for her.
Okay. I didn't even know about Etsy, so I'm gonna have to look it up.
You don't know anything about Etsy?
No.
Oh my god.
I'll have to tell her.
Yeah, I'm like, I have the app on my phone. I'm like, yeah, I'm an Etsy addict. So yeah, I can tell you all about it. And there's like competitors to Etsy too, like Big Cartel, and I mean there's so many places to get your product out there. It's pretty amazing. It's everybody thinks they need a website to sell their products, and the reality is you're going to sell a lot more if you go on Etsy or you develop a product for Amazon.
Yeah, especially if they advertise for you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you go to how many times do you just start your search for something you're looking for on Amazon? I got Amazon Prime. I'm not going to Dick's Sporting Goods to buy my kid a pair of cleats with all those crazy moms out there.
Not with a Prime account.
No, we Amazon Prime that. So anything I can possibly get on Amazon, I'm starting my search on Amazon. So as somebody who wants to sell a product, I could make a website about it and sell my product in there, but like I think I'll make a lot more money if I get it on Amazon. You know? So you have to, it's kind of disappointing as a web developer because it's so fun to build e-commerce sites. Like, I've coded carts from scratch. I love that shit. I love building websites. But reality is that you're going to sell more, taking advantage of some of the platforms out there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean, she needs a landing place, she needs an environment for people to get to know her as an artist and want to make that purchase.
Mhm.
So you could have some things for sale on her main site, but if she really wants to get her products out there, she needs to go to Etsy and get the bigger exposure.
Okay, sounds good.
Are we done with our presenting of today? Okay, you guys know what you need to do. So just FYI, before I sign off, let me show you. You can stop sharing here. This is good. Good start, Laura. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Show you guys how I'm going to. I'm going to show you the grades area because there's no grades in there. So what I do for the critique, since Mindy presented, I'll just put a 1 in there, and in the notes, I'll put the date. So you got 1 out of 1, and the date is 8/30/16. So that's how I'll keep track of who presented. So you can go back and look at your grades, and you'll be seeing, you eventually just want to make sure you get 8 points in there. Okay? Sarah, do you have any questions?
Sorry, no, I don't have any questions. Well, so we're just designing the website, right? We're not actually executing the whole coding process and stuff.
Right. Because this is interface design, that's the objective of interface design, is that we're focusing on the interface itself.
Okay. That's all I had a question about.
Okay. All right, and this time works for you. I think I'm just going to keep doing the critiques at our regularly scheduled time because it pretty much works for everyone. Jenna works full-time, and she sometimes can make it, sometimes not, but as long as she can make 8, she's good. I might have to throw a couple of weird times out there for some critiques as we get closer to the end of the semester and people are getting desperate for participating in critiques. But you want to try to get at least 4 presentations done before fall break, so you're not too far behind, okay?
Okay.
All right, well, we'll see you next week. Don't forget the deadline's on Friday, okay?
Okay, I won't.
It's midnight for these guys, so 7 in the morning Saturday morning for you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.